Well, let me call things to order at 7:02. Jay, you'll be taking minutes, I believe.
That's correct.
Thank you. Let me note, since we're recording here, that we have Paul Watts, Dick Conant, Jay Kane, Tom McLaughlin, Steve Jones, Craig Tobias, Dr. Craig Tobias. We also have from the public, Jason and Will, and we have a guest here who I will introduce in a bit, Jay Loudon or Loudon?
Loudon.
Loudon, okay. In fact, let's go. In fact, Jay, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. We usually do comments from the public, and we're going to make you public now. Jay was introduced to me. Lissa from the state sent me an emails, and Jay, you were involved with a Shellfish Commission in
Greenwich. No, in Greenwich.
Greenwich, and you are now living up here in Noank, which seems to be where everyone but me lives. Most of us. Hey, and Roger is on now too. Roger, I'm just introducing Jay Loudon now. He's from coming up from Greenwich, was on the Shellfish Commission there. Alyssa sent me an email and said he might be interested in getting involved with our merry bunch here. So
Could
Jay,
I correct that? Could I correct that one statement? I was not on the commission.
Okay.
I was an employee of the commission.
Okay. Were you doing warden duties or?
Yeah, yes, but our trips were, well, no, I have to say, no, I was not doing warden duties because there is a very robust warden element to the commission's work. I was boat driver, sampler, and ran the sampling program and kept current with the weather conditions and all the other things that go into opening and closing rounds.
Okay, that's great. And that's, I kind of do most of the sampling with the wardens right now. We actually probably going to have, we just had a warden resign. We're probably going to have a warden position announced. I don't know if you're interested. So, but yeah, we have a full commission right now, but we're always looking anyone that would like to get involved. I'm actually kind of new. I came up through the ranks. I did warden duties for about 4 years, and I'm acting chair right now, and we'll see where that goes. It's been a very active commission. I think we've got one of the biggest programs, certainly biggest recreational programs in the state, and we have a very robust commercial program too. And we've been around for, and some people like Roger can speak on history here, and Steve Jones, who's been around since the late 60s, God bless him. But it's been a well-managed program. It's, as I say, a very robust program. We've got some wonderful estuaries, and we face the same challenges I think any commission faces. In fact, we've got one huge water quality challenge right now. We were shut down by the state in Palmer's Cove, what we call Area E, because we were getting high fecals that we couldn't explain, and we're trying to track that down. And I, kind of like a bloodhound, I feel I'm on the scent of where it's coming from. Probably literally on the scent. So, but yeah, that's great. And I'd love to include you, your email with as I send stuff out. And if you'd like to get involved and join us on anything, I'll the best way is probably just to look for my emails. And,
please do.
And join these meetings here, because we'll announce up and coming events, whether it's a symposium or a field project or whatever. So great.
So please do.
Okay, thank you. And I appreciate you being so enthusiastic about maybe jumping in with us. It's a good group. It really is.
Good. Okay.
I'm going to shift right over to what is going to be a big topic here. Will and Jason. Jason, both of you, thank you for sending us an update as far as where you are with permitting and coordination. it looks like, looking at your spreadsheet, it looks like you're anticipating a lot of stuff to come through in June as far as authorizations, right?
Yeah, that's what we've been told. It looks like the Army Corps of Engineer is the last group that we're waiting for to kind of finalize their comments and, submit what they have to say to DABA and hopefully approve us. I mean, that's what we're expecting. They kind of sent us something saying that they don't expect any issues already, but it just still has to go through the process, I guess. So
Yeah. So, I mean, you're tracking, and I think Lisa, the assistant to the town manager, has dropped off here, but I've been trading some emails with her as far as our ability to hold a public hearing in a town facility. There's a lot of confusion on that right now, and I'm going to make a strong recommendation on how we go forward with this, given your timeline. Lisa's come to us and basically said on the 19th of May, the state may allow facilities like town facilities to open again. That is not a sure deal. They don't know what it's going to look like. And Lisa cautioned that the town needs to then make a decision on town facilities. So she actually sent me an email today and said, if you're in a real hurry in the next month to get through this public hearing, you probably may want to consider doing it as a webinar like this, or go look for your own venue somewhere. And as some of you just heard before the meeting, I said, I don't know where we'd find a venue. We're going to need to do presentations. We need Wi-Fi. We're going to need projectors. We can't sit on lawn chairs down at the hatchery and do this meeting. So Lisa said, and Jay and I have talked about this, we were very concerned about having to try to do this online, the public hearing, but Lisa said she could run the entire meeting for us, control the controls and all that. And the other good thing is Jay gets off the hook taking minutes because the meeting is recorded. So I see a lot of reasons for us to move ahead smartly and do this as a public hearing. And of course, the public notice that you gave me part of and I added on to and passed back to you guys is going to allow for written comments to come in. So there'll be no excuse if someone says, I don't understand computers, I don't have a computer, I can't make the meeting, I'd like to propose strongly, and I'd like some commission feedback on this, that we move ahead with a webinar on this, maybe schedule it for a Thursday, either the 27th of May or June 3rd. If we did it on either of those, and we're going to have to give some time after this meeting to have letters come in for us to digest whatever comments we get and to talk amongst ourselves as far as what the terms and conditions of a lease might be. So then we would be aiming for our meeting on the 10th to actually move or make a decision on the lease. And let me zip it and let other people express their opinions. Roger. You're on mute, Roger.
Okay, I have one question. At the last meeting, Steve Jones brought up a property owner that he defined that was right near the northern exit and entrance of BB Cove. Jason, did you guys talk to that property owner and satisfy his questions?
So we left a note on his door, same as we did with other residents on the cove. We haven't heard anything back. We spoke to someone from the No Ink Rowing Club as well that said they knew him personally, and they said they would reach out to him because they had also mentioned that he had some concerns, and we gave her our contact and she said she would try to reach out to him. I don't know what else we can do as far as trying to get in touch with him. If you have any suggestions.
Does he have a name and a phone number?
I don't have, I left my name, phone number, email, as well as Will's. And
is Steve Jones on or just?
Yeah, Roger, I'm here.
Yeah.
I think you're referring, there's three issues up there. One is the Sutphens, which we've talked about quite a bit. Another is the rowing club, which you just mentioned here. But the one that you just brought up, I think, was Jonathan Lane, who's over on the east side. Right there, and he has a way in there. Now, Jason, you guys went out there with Lynn Marshall and some other people in the rowing club last week, right?
Yep. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Okay. And there was a red flag, literally a red flag, on a stake over there in the Lane's place. Yeah.
Yes.
You saw that.
Yes.
Okay. There's supposed to be two, but
They're both there.
because the channel that he needs is 20 feet wide. So it's going to be right around that stake. Since then, because you only had the tide or something took the other one out. So I got to Jonathan and he put another stake in there. Now, if that's still there, it should be the right width and so forth. And that's just above the passageway out into the river.
Yes, we saw that. Yep.
Yeah. They're
Okay,
both
that Raj, I think that was the concern that we still had kind of flapping in the breeze because we hadn't really discussed that as extensively as we now have. And you guys didn't know anything about it for a while, but now you do, and you say you know where it is. All you got to do is just let him out of that, come out into the main channel. He needs that 20 feet, and that's all he needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We're not actually, we're nowhere near that right now. So
Okay.
it shouldn't be any issue.
Yeah.
You may want
Well,
to.
then okay, so that should take care of that, Raj.
All right, good, Steve.
Yeah,
you
guys,
may
I would
want
just
to-
make that really explicit, like in your application and your
Yeah,
maps.
put it in
That
your
you-
PowerPoint.
Yeah, that you acknowledge that this thing exists and we know where it is and we're nowhere near it. And then, you can have an image that shows that.
As for the other guy, I think you've done your due diligence. We might go one step further, and when we publish, and this is really beyond the call of duty, but when we publish in the newspaper the announcement for the public hearing, maybe we could make a copy of that and just drop it at this guy's place, so he has no excuse that he wasn't notified. And that is going way beyond what we should be doing. So,
Dick, I have one other, I know, and I don't remember the timing of when this has to be put in. It has to be put in twice.
we have, I pulled that up. We have to notify the town clerk. I read it again today, 15 days before. It has to be published no more than 15 days before. So we need to give Betsy the notice 15 days before. It needs to go in the paper once, and then it has to be published again not less than 2 days before the meeting.
Yeah,
So we've got plenty. We could, if we wanted to pick a Thursday, because that's our usual for a special meeting, we could easily, if I got on this with Betsy, and I think our public notice is in good shape, we could easily, and coordinating with Lisa, if we want to do this online, we could easily do it on the 27th of May. And that would give us then 2 weeks to digest before our meeting on the 10th of June.
So Dick, have we got a portal that people can submit comments or questions that accompanies
Well,
this announcement?
if we do a webinar, of course, someone can give verbal comments that I can let, and
Right.
this is what Lisa will do for us, which is really nice. She'll manage letting people in if they have a question. So I don't have to be playing the Wizard of Oz, toggling switches here.
No, I think, we've done this for the Connecticut Near public meeting, and it works surprisingly well
Yeah,
with a vast number of people. So I'm in favor of this.
yeah, I'm kind of enthused now about it when Lisa made the offer, and also I'm worried that Will and Jason are charging ahead, and if things go well, they may have everything they need by mid-June. So I'm trying to target us for a similar timeline.
Well, I think the other thing that's advantageous potentially for this kind of format, especially if there's a portal into which people can submit questions, is that it gives Jason and Will some time to prepare some thoughtful responses rather than getting blindsided by
Oh, I
something
see.
that maybe they
Okay.
haven't thought about.
Let me ask Lisa that. Submitting questions ahead of time. There probably is. Every other webinar I've been on, you can submit questions way ahead of time. Let me check. Let me check on that.
But yeah, in general, I think that this is, to some extent, this is going to be the new normal for a while. And I think,
Yeah, I'm
But
very
embrace
afraid
it.
of waiting. I don't think with a month, it looks like we have a month until Jason and Will get really antsy about things. And I'm not positive. I'm not getting good feedback on where the state's going. Hi, Dr. Bauman has joined us. Hi, Doctor. You may be on, she may be on mute still. So, anyways, would everyone be in favor? I would think we'd want to do, maybe we could, and as I say, we could make it a special meeting Thursday night, 7 o'clock on the 27th. Does that work for people?
Okay with
Are
me.
you in favor
Yeah.
of doing it this way?
It works for me.
yeah, it's probably a conflict for me, but you guys can forge ahead.
If we wanted to slide it another week to a Thursday, we're not going to be voting. This is a public hearing. We're not going to need a quorum. We're not going to be voting on anything until the 10th. And that's going to be essential that we have a quorum. But you want me to slip it, Craig, for your schedule? Would it be better on the 3rd of June?
No, my schedule's in a little bit of flux right now.
Okay.
And if it's remote, then I might be able to slide in.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I will copy everyone on an email tomorrow that to Lisa and get some more details, but I think I strongly feel now that this is the way to go to do this efficiently, given some of the COVID concerns or uncertainty that we're still dealing with. And I think with the town support, this could go smoothly. And we certainly in the public hearing notice will be allowing people to submit written comments as well. So, okay, Will, Jason, anything else from you?
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I think everything we'd have to say is on that POA, and we've gotten all positive feedback so far. If there's anyone else you guys can think of, I know obviously we just talked about the lanes, and we'll take care of all of that stuff. But otherwise, I think we've kind of hit everyone that we could that might have a stake, over in BB Cove.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I will. I'll dust off what we put together for the public notice and put it out one more time. Jay, I think you said something about them having to put in Latin long. I don't know if that ever got done.
I think it is in there.
I think you guys use state plane numbers, didn't you?
Yeah, I believe so.
If you want the town, actually, your lease, your CN's paperwork is in lat long when you opened up.
Yeah.
Do you still have that map that I gave you of your CN?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have the latitude and longitude. You guys need another.
Just do that. The lat longs is what you want to do. Most people can't decipher state plane stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I will put that out again tomorrow and copy everyone, but we may need to fix that up. Yeah. Okay. Since we're doing public here, let me introduce Dr. Sophia Bauman. Sophia, you're mute. Sophia is at.
I just unmuted myself.
Okay.
Hey, Zosha.
I met Sophia about a year and a half ago when I was doing warden duties, and she's met Ted, our other warden. She is the oyster expert, I guess. I'll let her talk. Well, you are.
Oh, I'm just really curious about them, just like Craig.
Yeah.
So
we had
just for the record, Richard, Doctor, you from Yukon Avery Point?
Yukon Avery Point, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I am an assistant research professor. Sounds fancy, but it's not.
And Sophia and I had a most excellent adventure about 2 weeks ago going after oysters up north of Broken Bridge, which we did find some. all different age classes, and a bunch of hard shell clams and a scallop of, and I think I sent you guys out the link of the pictures, but Sophia's, and I'll let Sophia, you can explain exactly what you're doing, but I know we have another, you and I are going to meet out there on, I think, the 30th, bright and early, to try to do some more raking. And all of a sudden today, I got something from Tessa that I need to put out to the commission, that I'm going to get the title wrong. It's something like the Shoreline Oyster Restoration Group in Connecticut is going to be meeting June 7th, I believe, out at Bluff Point, to look into wild oysters and what might be done to recover or improve, I won't say the fishery, but the state of wild oysters in the river. And go ahead, Sophia. Why don't you tell us some of your background?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Dick, and
Sure.
really nice joining and altering the all-male company. Just a little alteration to the sex ratio. Indeed, yes, Tessa actually had reached out to me as well. There's a statewide shellfish restoration planning going on, and I am sitting on these meetings just to get myself educated and sort of contribute whatever I know. But I have learned that the part of that sort of exercise, which is funded by USD, I think, is to do some kind of shoreline reckoning to see where oysters still exist and what shape and form, you know, how many and so on and so forth, to sort of determine maybe the fate of future kind of restoration projects or inform them. But why I am joining today is, well, firstly is because I am very excited and interested in oyster restoration, just generally, any kind of, you know, nature solutions to sort of, you know, to improve our ecosystems. That's exciting to me. I have spent nearly a year at Billion Oyster Project in New York City, and I've learned all about sort of how restoration works. And one of the things that was kind of opened my mind was the insane degradation of the bottom in so many different estuaries. And what we can really do about it is we can accumulate shell from oysters that people eat. And upon certain, you know, process of curation, that shell can be put back into the ecosystem and serve to attract larvae for, you know, self-recruitment. That's something that the shellfish industry in Connecticut is doing, at least some people like Norm Bloom. They lay shell on the bottom of seabeds that they are basically cultivating shortly before the recruitment is going to happen. And so larvae are going to settle on the clean shell, and some of them will grow to reach market size. But in the process, they'll be shuffled back and forth in different locations. The restoration for purposes of just improving and enhancing environment, the ecosystem, can also rely on the same process. By laying shell down, we can also recruit oysters, you know, wild oysters, and you know, let them be, and maybe somehow monitor how they're doing and assure that they're not getting sick and spreading disease and such. But all these details are really to come. My point is that we have a lot of restaurants here in Connecticut, especially here in Groton and Mystic, that serve oysters, and shells that are, you know, coming from these eaten oysters are basically going to the landfill. And that's just the saddest part of this whole story, is that they go to landfill, but really they need to be kept, and they need to be cured, and they need to be wisely used to restore our oysters here locally. So that's the idea that I have, is I'm putting together a proposal to the Long Island Sound Futures Fund, which is just due at the end of the month, to fund the project, small pilot scale project to recover shell from restaurants in Mystic and Groton, and to stockpile them in a transfer station area that John Bird and the town of Groton has kindly agreed to basically dedicate to this particular project. So we need basically funding to be able to, you know, organize this activity, to get shells back from the restaurants and put them on land to cure them. And then later on, we will try to get some more funding to design some kind of projects.
You don't let me just butt in real quick for a second. So I actually work for an 85th day company, and we go through probably about 5,000 oysters a week. Last year, before COVID, College actually began a recycling system, actually, where they were providing bins for the restaurants, and then they were curing them. I don't know if that would be something that you'd want to like reach out, because they stopped their efforts on that. But I don't know necessarily if they're going to plan on continuing it, but they did for a while provide bins, and we took all they were just curing them, and I don't know necessarily where they were dumping them back and whatnot, but it was the first person that actually reached out to our company, and they had some success with it. But then obviously COVID happened, and things kind of shut down for a while, but now I haven't heard anything since then. But maybe if you could get in contact with them and just see what they were doing, because it was really nice to finally utilize it. I know for some of they were using it for chicken feed and other uses, not just oyster restoration, of course. But I mean, definitely I'm a big proponent towards that, just because I literally throw out thousands of shells into a landfill.
That hurt. That hurt.
Every day. So
can we connect? I just put it my email address here in the chat. Would you? I can also throw in my cell number if you want to text me.
Will, what was the name of the company?
So I work part-time with 85th Day Company, which encompasses, Oyster Club, Engine Room, Stoneacre Farm, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm good.
I'm our Shellfish manager for the company, and I order at least around 5,000 pieces a week. Come in the summer months, we go through more. So it's really quick how much we go through. So I'll tell you on the restaurant side of it, the easiest way to do it is if you said you're going to receive funding, is to provide the bins for the restaurants.
That's right, exactly. That's what I'm
providing the bins, having a regular pickup. I got in trouble with my company because they were only coming once a week. And that was kind of a tough spot, because that obviously encourages lots of pests and rodents and such. But I think if you provided bins that weren't just 5-gallon buckets, which is what we were given at first, you could come once a week or once a month or whatever, as long as they're a little bit more protected. But this is something that I thought we should be doing for a extremely long time. So I'll just say I'm definitely helping provide and doing the pickup, and I know that obviously it's going to require funding, but that would be really easy on our side, because it's just as easy to put them in a bin than walking across the street and throwing them in the trash. So that's like,
can we connect after this meeting as well?
Of course.
I'd love to talk to you a lot more about it, because it would be amazing if we can collaborate, and I can explain what I already have, what is the plan, and
perfect.
This is fantastic, actually. Thank you for being in this meeting, and this is really great.
And Dr. Bauman, you do have, when I send out the email notifying of the meeting, you have Will and Jason's emails there, but
all right.
So you could pick those out. Will and Jason are pursuing a lease with us now. Roger?
Yeah, I saw that. That's really cool.
Now, I would just like to say that Bloom and Jim Markow have been doing this by the barge load in the Thames River.
I saw their pile.
For about 4 or 5 years. And I'm telling you, these barges carry some shell. So far, it's been sort of a success, but not an outstanding success. Years ago, the Thames was replete with oysters. And that's how Captain Malloy made his business, taking them out of the Thames and bringing them over to decorate them off of Noank with the old Annie. And Steve Jones knows the history of this thing. They're trying to restore it. Jim has a lot of beds all the way up to Norwich, or almost. And so they're big into this. I'm not to say that this is not a good effort, but you should make sure you know what they're doing, because they're doing.
I am aware. I told Jim. I told Jim about this. I met him a few weeks ago, and I told him I was going to, look into establishing such a program, and so he's aware. I talked with Danielle. She told me where the beds are and all. I don't think there is any conflict. I think it's going to be all synergized. I do want to make sure everyone is really on the same page and understand what's happening. But you are talking about a huge load of shell that Norm Bloom accumulated, and I actually just visited him maybe a week ago with Tessa sketches and Kristen Bannock from the Bureau of Aquaculture. And yeah, it's the amount is enormous. What they do is they dredge the rivers, they dredge the bottom and they remove the shell from the bottom and they separate the living oysters, for the market. And then they put the rest of it on the side and it's drying for 6 months. And maybe about July 4th or so, they get ready to start putting the shell out into the rivers because it's coinciding with the time of, the larvae in the water essentially at that time. So, yeah, he informed me actually he was doing some of that recycling in New Haven, but they have very few opportunities. We have a lot more restaurants in the area, but they have shown me their buckets, what they're doing. They told me how to mitigate the bad smell because they're right near,
Oh,
houses.
that's right. It's a real problem.
Yeah.
Black
is
flies
true.
cover the shell pile and it stinks like hell.
Yeah, I am aware of all this stuff. And thank you for bringing that up again. The lucky thing for us is that that I made that clear to John Burt when I, inquired with him in terms of the space, what would be the space available, and we made sure that it's away from any houses. It's at the transfer station. We have a really nice plot.
Yeah, I have something here.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello.
Yes.
You're okay. Paquonic River has had a long and at times strange history in terms of this. We had some problems of about 30 years ago because we had some success. And what that meant was we had a lot of shells that were along in the shallow water. And what happened with that is many of them ended up on the airport on the tarmac. And we got complaints from the airport manager because they were popping tires over there, believe it or not. The seagulls, of course, are bombing the macadam there with the shells. And this was no joke because after a while, it was quite dangerous, of course, to have the airplanes popping their tires. And he was hiring snow plows and stuff in the middle of the summer trying to get all this stuff off. It was a tremendous amount of this stuff was happening with the shells. And we got complaints and he asked us to stop doing that. And so we said, what exactly do you mean by doing that? Because we had planted these oysters on the spit below the broken bridge on the airport side about 2 years before the complaints came in, of course, because it took a while for all this to happen. And suddenly 2 years later, after we more or less forgotten this, we're getting all these complaints from the airport. You can read about some of this on the airport history, the Trumbull airport history. It's actually on there, some of it. So what I'm saying is when you start putting shells along in the shallow water, let alone piles of it along there in that river, watch out for the seagulls moving them over onto the macadam and getting in this kind of trouble.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. And who made me aware of this issue is my son, Sasha, who said, "Mommy, are you going to collect the shells from the airport?" And after which I was like, what? So I contacted the airport authorities and they said, unfortunately, they're not collecting, but they're just blowing it off to the side. But they are completely aware of my plans of, collection of shell and maybe future restoration. So, well, we need to find a way to live together. And I'm sorry to say, but, I mean, they're hunting for the seagulls are picking up pretty much clams, I think. So I don't think they're going to be picking up, dead oyster shells or even dead clam shells. But
we actually had to meet with the airport a couple of years ago, and they took us on a tour out there. We were surprised that there were some oyster shells, but the vast majority was scallop shells of all things.
Oh,
we essentially had a verbal agreement with the airport manager that we would not stock over on the airport side. We can't control the seagulls finding natural clams or whatever on the airport side and dropping them on. They built an airport surrounded by an estuary, so but we said we would not do stocking over there. Anyways, we need to move along. We've got a bunch of stuff. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much for having me. And
I'll put an email out to anyone who wants to join Sophia and I on May 30th is welcome to come splash in the water. And I will put out, if you really want more information, as I think I would, on this whole statewide initiative, I will put out the announcement for June 7th meeting out at Bluff Point, I think at 1 o'clock. So, but I will put that out to everyone. Okay,
Just quickly too, if I could just ask one more
Sure,
question
sure,
and then, just sort of like, what's the format of the hearing going to be? Like, how long should we plan for our, our PowerPoint presentation? Should we try to limit it and cut it down, make it as short as possible? And other than really giving the presentation and then answering questions, is there anything extra?
I don't think so. What do you think your presentation is now? 15 minutes maybe, or?
Probably not even, maybe 10 minutes if,
Yeah, I'd go 10 or 15 minutes. This could
Okay.
be, knock on wood, cross our fingers, this could be a non-event. Or we could have a bunch of people from the public. Now, I'm going to rework the notice, or we'll somehow set up some guidelines that people will have 5 or 10 minutes to make a statement. So things don't run on, that you have to do that with a public hearing. So we'll get some ground rules together. I'm hoping it doesn't go more than about an hour.
Okay.
Okay,
Sounds
great,
good.
great. Okay, let's move on. We got plenty to go through. Jay, Secretary's report.
Do you mind if we part our ways
Yeah,
here?
yeah, you guys are, yeah, you're dismissed.
Awesome.
Likewise,
I
I'll
look forward to
also,
May 27th.
thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, we'll be in touch real soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, you ready?
Sure.
All right. Minutes were delivered to everybody about a month ago. I know everybody got it by email. Does anybody have any questions on the minutes from last month?
I'll make a motion, they be approved.
Second.
Second from Craig.
Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Hearing none? Minutes carry. Unanimous.
treasurer's
Okay.
report.
Treasurer's report.
All right, the town failed to send us any paperwork this month on our account. And I called over this afternoon after I got back, but they had already gone home for the day. So I don't have any paperwork from them. They haven't opened yet, so I can't go down there and talk to them about how they're doing things with the new system. So if they do open on the 19th, at the end of the month, I'll be able to get in there and sit down with the lady who does that work and find out.
We expect you to camp out. You should be camping out overnight at the door.
They're not open because I was able to get into payroll and deliver everything.
Yeah, no, I can get in there, but they don't want me in there for an hour or two trying to learn their new system.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to be in there for an hour or two either. As far as collections, I'm going to turn over to Tom. Tom, did you do any collections this month?
I got, picked up all the receipts. As you know, there was some confusion. And even today, this morning, I Googled Shellfish license. And it comes up with the prices from 2 years ago. So when I'm
Googled it
picking up
where?
all these receipts, I'm trying to put them in the right little boxes. Nothing matched. The prices
No.
didn't match.
Google, where did you Google it from?
I Googled it from home.
Yeah, but what site did you go to?
I went to Groton Shellfish license fees. And it lists, number of the cities in Connecticut. And apparently our website is out of date. The city is
No,
fine.
no, hold on.
Okay,
Yeah, you're getting out of date information. You need to, I just had them load the correct information on the Town of Groton website. Go nowhere else. Or
yeah, but
use
it isn't me. It's,
Yeah.
I guess people going to get these licenses are looking it up.
Yeah, there's a ton of misinformation on the internet, which I can't do anything about.
Okay.
Town of
I didn't know
Groton
if it was
has,
our website or what.
I just had the ticket done and they just loaded the new information. You'll find if you do just a Groton Shellfish, you'll hit stuff from 20 years ago.
Okay,
So,
all right. I know the city is right. That site was right,
no,
But anyhow, we got them all picked up and
yeah.
it was a little bit embarrassing when I go
Tom,
to.
do you have any
Ken
numbers?
Crackle. And I say, well, why is this license saying I'm getting these $50 receipts? And a lot of them, and I didn't have any reason to believe it was $50. But she showed me
Okay.
her price list and
It's
we
in
worked
the,
it
ma-
out. So
yeah,
it's
it's in
fine.
the management plan that I sent you. You have to open that and go to the right section.
I saw
or
it,
you
I
can
saw
go
it, yep.
Or go to the Town of Groton website, and that has the correct information. Don't do a general Google on anything
Okay.
in your life. Never in your life. There's lots
Okay.
of bullshit out there.
All righty.
Okay,
Well,
Tom,
that's that anyhow.
Tom, do
Yes,
you have any numbers on how much you collected from either place?
I got all the numbers.
All right, tell me what the number was from Ken's.
I don't have the sheet in front of me. I can go get it if you want.
Okay, you can get it to me later, so I just, usually, then I'll just put
See,
in a minute.
Ken's is the only one I'm holding off on. I haven't brought that down to the lab because I really won't get those until next month, because I bring that information to purchasing and then they'll give me the previous month's receipts.
Correct.
So I've been filling out this paper using 4 months, January, February, March, April. So I've been holding off until I get the final Ken's April. Okay, does that make sense?
Okay, so we have no figures. That's the short story on income.
Everything else, yeah, I have the figures, but I don't have for Ken's for April. I have
Right.
it for January, February, March.
Right.
And the
Tom, why
other
don't-
town hall and the police department, I have all 4 months.
Okay. Tom, why don't you send an email to Jay tomorrow when you have chance and just give him what numbers you have and whatever caveats as far as if you're missing something or whatever.
Okay, I'll just take a picture of it,
Yeah.
Sure.
send it over.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, very good, Jay.
Great.
Okay, we got a statement from Johnson's Hardware for 11.55. That was approved last month, and it was submitted to purchasing last month, so hopefully that's gonna get paid. The Verizon bill came in early like it always does. It was $36.60. I signed off on it, so we keep the phone alive. Got an invoice from Richard Conant for delivering samples, fuel, parking. That was for $120.19. We approved that today. I'll get that paperwork done. I also got a quote from, I want to put a water separator on the #2 boat, which is the maritime skiff. I'm going to get the whole assembly. That filter, the gas tank is in the, of course, the center console. I'm going to run a new gas line and put the fuel filter on there. And I'm going to get a spare, they're spin-ons. And that was $131.87. I haven't purchased it yet, but that's what it's going to cost. So that's all I have for bills, unless anybody else has any other bills that haven't been paid. If seeing none, warden's hours were submitted by,
Yes, I've got the warden's hours. Do you want them?
please.
Mike Harris, 37. Al Potter, 28. Come on here. And Ted Rathjen, 40.
All right, and they were submitted to town hall, Roger?
They were.
Okay, so that's all I have for the treasury report. We move in second and vote if you want.
Make a motion to approve the charges as presented.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Looks, any opposed, abstained, carries unanimously. Thank you, Jay. Moving on to correspondence, and I sent this out to you guys. We had a dock extension application come in, Groton Long Point, Venetian Lagoon. I signed off on that, sent you a copy of the sign off because it had really no impacts to us.
Richard, can you give me the address, please?
Yeah, I thought I sent that on to you. I'll send it on to you tomorrow, the form.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, it's in Venetian Lagoon. I forget the address. I well, let me see if I can, oh, I may lose you.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, okay. I will make a note. I also received official correspondence from the state closing Area C seasonally. That's of course anticipated May 1st. That is closed through November. I also contacted the police, Dottie, and the town hall to inform them that Mumford Cove was closed, and also to remind them that oyster season is closed now until September 1st. So hopefully the cops occasionally write oyster permits during the summer. I asked them to make a little note on the permit book. We'll see if they did. And then finally for me on correspondence, Alyssa is now actively working on the sampling MOU because I dusted it off and made the changes for her, or at least annotated where I think changes need to be made. So this is, amongst other things, going to bump the triggers up at Mumford Cove and Quantic River to 1.5 inches, which is a really good thing. So hopefully that is coming at us in the not too distant future. Then I have to start running around getting signatures from the town and the city. Jay, or anyone else, any other correspondence?
Nope.
Nope, okay. Moving on, old business, water sampling. We've been doing well. We have had an Alexandrium concern. They've had some fairly high counts of Alexandrium in Area P. So the state has had me and Ted running around getting hard shells and then hard shells and soft shells a couple of days ago. They are not seeing, they are seeing high counts of the Alexandrium, but they are not seeing any of the nerve toxin, the saxitoxin, which is good. So I'm a little tired of Alexandrium red tide season. I'm glad we're going to be over it in about a month because we've been really running around getting samples for them. They're just trying to do their due diligence, but and we did actually, Shannon came up, got some blue mussels. Blue mussels are state of the art as far as uptake for Alexandrium. They like to use blue mussels. They have a supply over in Mumford Cove and Palmer Cove. We've never established them in the Quantic River because we didn't have any place to put them. But Shannon got some from Waterford the other day. I took Shannon out on the boat and we tied them off to one of the old piers at Broken Bridge on the airport side with a little red sign that says, "Don't mess with these." Of course, it's a yellow line with a red sign on it, so someone will mess with them, but Craig knows how that works. Our water samples for fecals have been real good. We're not sampling C during the summer, of course, because we're closed. We have the smoking gun gets smokier as far as that Mumford, Palmer's Cove North, the sample. Now I have 3 results from the outflow of Eccleston Brook. They have all been not extremely high, but quite elevated. In fact, they're the 3 worst results we've seen anywhere in Groton for 6 months. So my suspicions on what is coming out of that brook are heightened. And I have gone to the state and said, 3 points don't make, a data set, but I want to, it's so suspicious. I want to move upstream past the housing development, which is not on town sewer, start taking a sample up on Groton Long Point Road above those houses, because we're going to have to identify, this is a huge watershed. We're going to have to identify if there is a problem, and there appears to be, where it's coming from. And we're going to have to be ironclad on this, because if we take this to the town and the town manager, you can imagine their reaction when we start pointing our fingers at a bunch of houses that are on town sewer. It's not on town. I can think, I'm not a civil engineer, but I can think like one. I know why they didn't put those houses down in a hollow on town sewer. It would be really expensive. Houses on either side of the stream, and you'd probably have to have a lift station to get everything out of there. So we need to be real sure of this before I even dare knock on Mr. Burt's door and say, yeah, we got something we need to discuss with the town.
Dick,
Hmm.
do you think you should sample up above the old Cutler School there?
The old Cutler School?
Cutler, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
about
Bob
Town-
Rogers house.
Town Brook.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna move
up where we're from.
incrementally. I really suspect it's the houses down there, so I'm just gonna move one step up. And if we're seeing a hot sample at the outfall, we're still seeing a hot sample above up on Groton Long Point Road above
Yeah.
those houses, then we move another step up.
Oh, I
But
see, okay.
I think we need to creep upstream. I really think it's, and Roger has been
Yeah.
on this for years. I really think it's those houses. I think
Oh, I
it's
do too.
old. They're 40 and 50 year old houses, probably 50, 60-year-old houses. They've got septic systems sitting in a damn wetland
Yeah,
that floods all the time. Yeah,
I agree with you. It's
yeah,
suspect.
Don't get concerned though, Dick, because we went through this 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
yeah.
Ended up redoing the whole Midway Oval for a price tag of $7 to $8 million. So
Yeah,
if it needs to be done, we can get it done.
yeah. I just want to make sure we have a strong case to present.
I hear you.
Be-
I hear you. You're gonna get a battle over it. And we had a battle with the sewer commission of all things. Guys like us. Oh, they're saying it's not happening.
Yeah,
And we spent $3,000 of our own money to put packets in the sewer line, and the proof was there.
yeah,
And it became a referendum, and we all had to vote on it, and it was a big deal.
yeah. And that's why I want to be sure. And I bet the town will push back and say, boy, and this is them thinking to themselves, that's really expensive to get those guys on town sewer. So we'll go out and dye test. We'll put this on the homeowners. And then if they find failing systems, then we're gonna have a whole bunch of homeowners pissed at us.
Oh, yeah, they'll all be pissed.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we're probably half a year away on testing to even being where I even want to bring this to the forefront with the town. We're not there yet. But
No, I'm sure of that.
there's some real suspicion on my mind that there's a real problem coming into Palmer's Cove from that stream. So, okay. But yeah, water sampling's going good. We're open right now. P is the only game in town, unfortunately, but the results have been good. So, and the Alexandrium, the red tide, has not shut us down. So cross our fingers. Okay, Shellfish management research, Craig. I know you probably don't have anything. We do eventually need to start thinking about what we want to do for stocking this coming year. Maybe next meeting, if you want to put some thought in on that.
Yeah, that sounds good. And people can maybe give me some feedback on how they think last year's effort to get seed stock,
Okay,
worked, didn't work. Is it worth it?
okay. When I put the agenda out, I'll ask for input too ahead of the next meeting. Okay, well, we talked permit management, permit vendors, Paul, Tom, I think we kind of discussed that, unless you got something more to say. No? Commercial leases, anything, Jay, aside from what we're doing with Will and Jason?
No, that's it. Everything else is buttoned up.
I did, I think I copied you guys. Oh, God, we had someone come through Tessa asking about commercial leases in the town of Groton. And I replied, and it was like, maybe they wanted to establish one. And I replied, yeah, it was a question about how we get, how we use our CMA and potentially go to a lease. So I gave them there, and Murph was involved from Stonington. I gave them our process and also the caveat that, if we don't have commercial grounds open, then you're going nowhere. So I don't know if there's a proposal coming in or someone just kind of feeling out what the procedures were in the various towns. Okay, boat status. Boat seems to be running fine as far as I'm concerned, but. And Jay, I guess you kind of brought us up to speed. I guess where you and Ted are working on getting the #2 boat ready to go in the water, huh?
Yeah, Jim Marco says that we don't have to replace the tank. He says there's nothing wrong with it.
Oh,
We're gonna siphon the gas out of there and clean it, and hopefully that's gonna work. That's why I want to put a fuel filter on in case it doesn't work.
Good move.
That boat will eventually be deployed out of the ballpark, and we're going to have to put it. We already got the paperwork signed off to put a second mooring system in. So I'll have to pick up the supplies for that to put another mooring system in for that boat. And I just want everybody to know I'm going to spend the money. And I'll buy it, and then I'll submit the invoices to the town. And that's all we have right now for that.
So we're going to keep the old mooring system there and just have 2 in tandem?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Because as I discussed with you, the boat and a real low tide still grounds out. And I was thinking of moving the post out maybe 5 feet waterward, and then having you help me get the metal post move the equivalent amount, but
yeah,
we could
do it all same time.
Do it all the same time. Yeah, no, this is not an emergency. We managed to get it off the bank the other day when we had to go out at low tide to get steamers. Great. Any other old business? Hearing none. Move on to new business. I think we already talked about Sixpenny Oyster. I will copy you on all this. I will get in touch with Lisa tomorrow and get in touch with Betsy on the public notice, start working both those things, aiming at the 27th. But let me get some more details on how exactly this public hearing can be conducted, whether people can submit questions ahead of time, et cetera, et cetera. But I do strongly feel this is the way to go, given the situation now. And Jay doesn't have to record minutes. B, Mumford Cove. I was wondering if it might be good, and I could go. I know some people. In fact, I met the Mumford Cove. It's funny, Roger and Steve. I think I met the head of the Mumford Cove Association and his wife the other day when I was water sampling, and I was ready for a battle with them about, the parking issue and all that. And he started in going, oh, it wasn't that big a deal. And yeah, we were just concerned with people coming in from the outside. And I bet we could kind of open up the parking a little bit to you guys. And then his wife jumped in and said, don't do that. And I thought I was going to be in a fight with him. And then he came off as, oh, that was no big deal. Yeah, we shut you down, but it was no big problem, and we probably accommodate some parking again. I go, whoa.
He was probably one of the clammers, the 5 guys on that spit that have licenses. They didn't like that we weren't stocking anymore.
Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe I didn't run it.
He could have been one of the clammers.
Okay. I thought I ran into the guy that was driving around in the golf cart yelling at people parking illegally out there.
He was not a clammer.
Okay. Anyways, I think I have the ability. I have some contacts at Mumford Cove, and I know the wardens have expressed some interest in maybe getting a Mumford Cove parking sticker when they have to park their car out there. And it may not be so bad for someone like me who does the sampling. What do you guys think of that, approaching Mumford Cove and see if they'd give us a couple parking stickers?
Is there such a thing as a Mumford Cove parking sticker?
Yeah.
I've never seen one. Hey, why don't you get about 50?
Hey, this is being recorded here.
Here's a license, here's your sticker.
Yeah, so Dick, I have a contact I can send you.
Okay.
And he's He's the person that we talk to whenever we go over there to sample for projects. And
Okay,
he's been pretty agreeable. He just says, stick a note on your dashboard,
okay,
sort of identifying what the vehicle is. And
okay.
it might be simpler than what you guys have experienced in the past.
I'd like to keep it as, and when I was a warden, I always kept a note like that in my car that I'd put on the dashboard, and I've actually run into nothing but goodwill over there. And I've talked to a
Yeah,
lot of
I asked him if I
residents.
needed a permit and he said, no, just put my name on it
Yeah,
and,
okay,
and say, that I talked to you and
Okay.
parking was by permission of
okay.
so-and-so. So I can send you his name.
Yeah, send me that name and then I might add it and I'll send something out to the wardens and say this is, or I'll send them, print out some little sheets that they can put on their dashboard when they're over there. And I will too when I'm sampling.
Years ago,
Okay,
we still have it. We had official business, Groton Shellfish Commission,
yeah,
8.5 by 11, just leave it on the dashboard, but we didn't give them out to the clammers.
no. Okay, let's move on. We had a warden, I'm not terribly surprised, but Michael Harris resigned a couple weeks ago. He's moving on, took another part-time job at Marina in Noank somewhere, I guess shuttling people from their boats and back. So we have, and Al has been, to give you some status on Al, he had pneumonia. He's back at work now. I'm a little concerned. He's quite weakened and he's up in years and he's had this cancer thing in his throat. So pneumonia is bad news. But he's back. I think we need to go ahead under the same rationale that we hired the third warden a year ago. Same rationale that 2 wardens probably do it for us, but I'm very worried on how long Al can hang in there, or whether he has another health crisis, and then we're down to, and Ted basically has been covering warden duties with me going out on occasion to kind of cover things. So I'd like to, let me introduce a motion and we can discuss this. I'm going to introduce a motion to proceed with Groton HR assistants to advertise and fill the vacant warden position. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on this? Okay, I will, I need to dust off the job description. I will send it over to Karen, I think, at HR, and I'll copy all you guys on it and have her advertise it for a couple weeks on the Groton site, okay?
How about a vote?
I guess we need to vote, yeah, okay. All in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed, abstained, hearing none, carries unanimously. I will move ahead with that. Wanted to talk a little bit, I'm just going to throw this out. I mentioned it a year ago. I did have luck. The town of Groton has a new website, didn't carry our information over very well. So I went to the IT guy, they put a ticket in. They loaded all our new information, permit fees, management plan, maps, I forget what else. It's all loaded. It's under the town clerk, but there's a number of links you can get to. So that provides, I think, fairly good information for the Shellfish program. But I wanted to solicit input from you guys on whether or not we want to pursue or start looking into maybe a standalone Groton website, Shellfish website, similar to what Stonington has. I'm a little agnostic with this, but might be a good idea, might be a waste of time. Thoughts? Silence.
Are you talking about a website that's not managed by the town? Or
Yeah,
what-
it would have to be a standalone from the town, yeah.
Why would we do that?
Yeah,
Well, that's why I guess I'm asking you. We have our basic information up. I think we could do something that is much more gussied up than what, right now we can just load some files. But we could have, with a nice opening page and, yeah, the maps and some clamming tips or whatever. Don't know. I don't know if there's a utility to it. It would cost
need to
probably a
sell
few
more
thousand
permits?
to put it up.
Sorry, Roger. What'd you say, Roger?
I'm saying, if we're selling plenty of permits, I don't think we ought to advertise anymore.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
business is not good, that's another reason to maybe have it separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Roger makes a good point. But my thought is, the only reason maybe to go to a more sophisticated website is if we wanted to be able to sell permits online, which we talked about before, and I'm not 100% convinced that we should, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying that would be the only justification in my mind for upgrading, as it were.
Yeah, and I don't think the more I turn it, and I'm not savvy with this stuff, but the more I turn over, I'd love to be able to sell permits online, but because someone would have to prove they're in-town resident or out of town or out of state resident, I don't know how you would verify that on a website. Submit I don't know what, a PDF of your driver's there's some real problems with that. How does the money come in? We'd have to establish something like a PayPal or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's doable, but I don't know how we do it. I'm just not smart enough with that stuff.
Well, I can ask Chris. He helps us all the time.
Okay.
You can set up a website. It doesn't cost anything. Okay. The thing is that all we can do is probably say that we do this, have some pictures of the ocean, have pictures of somebody clamming. The issue is we're going to have selling online. We're going to have a huge problem with the town clerk. Purchasing is going to make us jump through all kinds of hoops that we don't want to go down that road.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have a special account, be a Venmo account or something like that. And then they don't have control of our money. And then it's going to.
It sounds to me like it's an awful idea.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm not advocating that we do it. I posed it as the only reason in my mind to improve the website.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm willing to put that on the back burner. I was, when we were having trouble getting stuff loaded, communicating with the town and loading what I think was the basics that I wanted up on the town website, I was all for doing our own website. But the town seems quite open now to load up almost anything for us. I gave them six large files and it was no problem. It was done in a day with a ticket. So I think I'm content enough that the information's out there and that's where people are going to look on the town website for shellfishing anyway. So, but I thought I'd bring the subject up. Okay, I got one final thing and I'm going to make a hard sell here on something. And let me introduce the resolution. Let me introduce the resolution first and see if I can get a motion, then we can discuss, okay? Okay, make a motion to increase permit compensation for Ken's Bait and Tackle and Groton Town Clerk Office from the current 50 cents per permit to $1 per permit. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay. Let me, there's some funny background noise here.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
What is, it sounds like a dog dying. Let me make a pitch for this. I brought this up and I tabled it because Roger brought up a concern that any fees that the town clerk collect would go into the black hole that is the town of Groton's budget. Roger, you were right, as I suspected. Any fees that they collect go into the general budget. But let me make a pitch for this. We sell about 1,000 to 1,500 permits a year on average. The cops are probably a third of that at least. They refuse to take any money. They don't want to deal with money for permits. They've told us no. So it comes down to, let's say, an even 1,000 permits. Let's say they're divided half and half between Dottie, which is a private concern, Ken's Bait and Tackle, and the town clerk office. So right now at 50 cents a permit, we are spending about $500 a year, 250 to Dottie, 250 into the town coffers. I'd like to propose that we increase that to $1 for both entities. I understand Roger's position, but I would make a point that the town supports us in many ways. The town clerk's office has been phenomenal. The town manager has been phenomenal. We would have lost the boat at Yukon without Mr. Burt going to bat with us. The HR department does all our posting. Jay knows with finances that they keep all the books. So I don't think it's unreasonable to give or put something into the town coffers for all the support we get. And even if we increase to $1 a permit, that is, and I didn't do the math on this, that's 10% of our lowest cost permit, the $10 daily permit. We sell mostly year permits for 30, 35, 40, goes up to 50. I didn't do the math, but I'm thinking that if I did do the math, we would be compensating the permit sellers maybe 5% for what they sell, which I don't think is an unreasonable amount. And we would not be spending as a commission, we're spending about 500 now for permit compensation. We would be doubling that to about 1,000 a year, half to Dottie, half to the town. We just spent almost $1,000 tuning up an outboard. So that's my pitch, and I'll shut up and let people weigh in.
The only thing I would say is that Dottie, I could understand. I can't see paying the town for what we normally do, and I don't think it's gonna mean much in the overall budget of things. Dottie gets a little bit of perks because she sells clam rakes and various other things, so it kind of goes together. I'm not against raising her, but I don't think we should raise the town. I can't explain why, but we pay taxes to the town. We're a town function. I'd have to look at somebody else that's like a Shellfish commission, a fishing permit or something. Do we pay the town to do a fishing permit? I don't know.
Yes, we do.
The state, yeah, and I talked to Betsy about this. The state used to pay the town $1 for each fishing permit. The town got out of that because the state was requiring so many records that they said it wasn't worth their time. But they had been taking $1 per permit for fishing permits.
Well, we work for the town, and for some reason I have trouble paying the town. I can't say exactly. I don't mind raising Dottie's, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. Other opinions?
Yeah, does
I'm
any,
all for raising Dottie's. She said she just takes cash because if she took credit cards, it wouldn't pay for her. So I think she should get more. And you sell a lot of permits there too, you know, so.
Yeah. Paul?
yes, I agree that I think Dottie's should be raised without any concern. I was just wondering how other towns handle it, Stonington or Waterford, with regard to their town clerks. Anybody know?
I'm not aware.
Well, Murph would probably know, right?
Yeah, he might.
I mean, I don't know if we can raise one and not raise the other. That's the only problem.
Well, I have a motion on the floor to raise both of them, so we're gonna have to vote on the motion as seconded. Any other comments? Okay, we're voting on the motion to raise both as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
1, 2, 3. Steve?
Oh, boy. All right.
4. All opposed? Roger? Abstained? 1 abstain. Jay, what was your vote?
On something like this, you understand that the 5 permanent members can.
Oh, geez. Oh, yeah, I screwed up there. Okay.
So you got
Paul,
Richard,
you were-
Steve Jones, Craig Tobias, and Paul Watts.
Okay.
And
So
you
we
have
had-
Roger either abstained or what? Roger, you said no, right?
Yeah,
Roger said no. Paul, what was your vote?
I agreed.
Okay, I agreed. Craig, you
I abstained.
abstained, and Tom, you voted yes, right? Oh, well,
Yes.
Tom, you're alternate. Steve voted yes, so it carries. I will be in touch with them, and Tom, you may reinforce to them. Okay, any other new business before we adjourn?
Raise
yeah,
your
I have
hand.
something.
Roger, you go first.
Roger?
Okay. Yeah, 2 days ago at the Ram Island Yacht Club, the USGS
Yeah.
was down installing this array, solar powered, and it's going to record off the end of the dock a bunch of parameters, let's say 9 or 10. No biologics, so it doesn't help us with fecal, but water temperature, salinity, flow, all kinds of stuff. And unbeknownst to me, they have a station like this at the seaport. They have something by the sewer outfall, and now they have Ram Island. In the Thames, they have Fort Trumbull, something in Norwich, and something halfway. All of this data is going to be available online if it isn't already. And it's just good backup data. And I brought Jim Markow down to meet the guys, and the head guy is going to come over to the hatchery because he's very interested in the operation. And I asked him, what is this all about? And he said, well, one of the things we're trying to determine is where the eelgrass went. Now, Craig and maybe Jay, you must know about this arrays that are being put all over. They seem to be, Frank Boland was down there and he knows all these guys. And he's, of course, a member of the yacht club. I just thought it was pretty interesting, and it'd be interesting to us, at least to know that this is happening.
Hey, Roger, did you get the name of the guy, the head guy?
He works for
Yeah,
the USGS, and Frank Boland knows him.
Out of
Like on a
out of the Connecticut district office, or?
Well, they're very familiar with Avery Point, and they know what goes on over there. And as I said, Frank Boland, who's a professor emeritus, I guess now, I'm not
Yeah.
sure, knows them all personally. They had 4 trucks. It's it's a great big box on the end of the dock, and they have stuff in what looks like conduit for the sensors going out all kinds of ways. I didn't know it was coming, but it's interesting. And I don't know.
Yeah, I'll see if I could track this down a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to
Yeah.
tie into that. That's local data that would be useful potentially.
Hey, Craig,
Yeah.
I bet you if you walk down there, there's a plaque on there. If you
No.
find this, call this number.
Do you know how many of those I've left around Long Island Sound?
I'm just saying.
Well,
Some of them are
I
still at
just wanted
50
to
feet.
make you aware of it.
And I've got
Very-
one more thing.
Yeah.
We're out sometimes helping the wardens doing sampling. We're doing all kinds of stuff. And I was wondering, we now have IDs, volunteer IDs or commissioner IDs, warden IDs. And I was wondering if it would be to our advantage to maybe get some hats that say Groton Shellfish Commission.
I think that's a good idea.
Be great, we'll just get summer hats for now. I'll get them embroidered, and I just need to know maybe a head count. I figure we should have at least 3 for the wardens, and should I get enough to cover everybody who's a member of the commission?
Why don't you? Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
No, we used to have badges. Can you believe that?
Wow.
I have a badge.
Can I be Admiral?
Epaulets.
Chairman, you should say.
The other thing that was mentioned to me by Ted, who's one of our wardens, of course, is that the summer shirts that they wear are a permanent press, heavy duty uniform shirt, and they're extremely hot. And it's in the sun, especially if you're in Pequannock Cove, and it's 100% humidity. It's 95 degrees in July. I'm getting prices on a lighter shirt for them for the summertime. Short sleeve, probably similar to this, halfway button down, and we could just embroider, Groton Shellfish Commission warden or something on it. I'll get some prices on that before I order anything and have everybody okay it.
Hey, Jay, Ted came to me and asked our policy on shorts. He asked me, can I wear shorts? And I said, yeah, I have no problem as long as they're khaki and all that. I said, we could probably order something like that. He said, no, I'll buy them myself. But if we're doing all this ordering, maybe we could look into getting some shorts too. It is nasty out there during the summer, I will tell you from experience. And I don't think it would look unprofessional. I mean, postmen and cops do it.
Well, I think we'll probably have
Gonna have
I think we'll have the person buy their own shorts or be in person.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So they fit.
That because we can't just buy a bunch of sizes.
Don't get
Yeah.
any for me.
Well, unless we went over to the uniform store, and we'll pay a fortune for those. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't offering any of the commissioner's shorts, just the wardens.
Hey.
We could also get Speedos or something too and run around Speedos.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That might get to, boy, talk about enforcement.
Hey,
Okay, anything else?
Roger's comment just reminded me of something, just as a point of information. EPA Long Island Sound Study is funneling a bunch of money through Connecticut Deep to do a bunch of water quality modeling in the embayment estuaries on the Connecticut shore. And this summer, they're starting on the Mystic River. So there'll be some additional benthic surveys, some other data that's available. And ultimately, there should be a working water quality model that's driven by inputs from the watershed, tidal exchange, et cetera, for all the embayments. But the Mystic River and Norwalk Harbor are top on the list. So
Mystic River be interesting. Tell them to take a look up Palmer's Cove.
Yeah, I think the priorities have already been set. But
yeah, I'm sure it's the major rivers first. And
you think that's tied into this monitoring I'm talking about?
That's what I was wondering, Roger, that's why I asked if it was the Connecticut district office, because they have a role in this effort, but I'm not sure what it is. But if the guy said eelgrass, I'm a little bit puzzled by that.
That's one of the things we're looking into. What bothers me a little is this conduit where the sensors are goes off the end of the main dock. Jay, you can take a look at this, and goes right out towards the channel, but you can't see how far it goes. And to me, if you drug an anchor across that, you'd just tear the whole thing up. But
it'll be the first time.
Yeah.
Keeps Jay in business.
Okay, any other comments, seconds? And thank you. We're going to have to call you J the second or J2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or there's going to be major confusion, but I appreciate you joining, and I will try to start kind of copying you in on all this. Yeah, we certainly won't turn away anyone that like to get involved and is interested in. As I say, you probably hear from this, and we've got two very active towns on either side of us too. I mean, Eastern Connecticut, I don't think I'd be off base in calling it a hot spot for, the shellfish industry, recreational and commercial in Connecticut. So, but then I don't understand down your way either, or down your former way as well as I probably should.
There's a lot of it down there.
Yeah. Well, certainly around New Haven. Yeah. That's kind of the center of everything down there. But yeah, I didn't realize it went as far down. Well, I guess I did know it was down to Greenwich. Or do you have recreational beds down there? Or
Yes, we do.
you have problems with water quality? Because we're always fighting the water quality thing up here, and we get pretty good flushing. Well, our problem is, of course, from upland impacts on an ebb tide, and that's why they make a sample on the ebb tide. It's stuff coming out of semi-urbanized watersheds that causes us problems, I think.
We have several areas that are shoreline areas. One of them is a public beach, so there's a closure period for the swimming season. And there's something similar to that in a couple of offshore island areas. Almost everything is closed recreationally throughout the summer. Usually opens sometime in October, shuts down sometime May. Just because there's so much recreational activity that could contribute to water pollution. And all the we sample 12 months a year, and the samples all prove the wisdom of closing the areas throughout the season. The difference in coliform counts as between November even and May is quite remarkable. People get their boats in early and immediately start testing whether or not their Y valves are working.
Yeah,
it's a shameful thing, but they act in the best interest of the consumers there. They do a lot of investigating. I drove a boat for Alyssa and Shannon more than a couple of times to make shoreline surveys to see if there were increased numbers of outfalls, because just like you suffer with, there are plenty of places with $6 million homes on them that are using septic systems to take the waste away from the 10 bedrooms that are in the buildings. So doesn't make a lot of sense. No,
we see the same thing here, and I don't know, and we debate this, and I'm sure you've had the same debates with Alyssa, and we see our fecals start creeping up a little bit about this time of year. We worry about it during the summer. I have a theory that, and we have a lot of bird problems here. I have a theory that it's retention time of the fecals in warm water, that when fecals coming out of a warm bird gut into 30-degree water, they hit the water and they just don't survive, where they hit 80-degree water. And that's only kind of a speculation on my part, but I think the fecals have more longevity in the water during the summer. And then it's birds, it's septic systems, it's who knows what,
Well, yeah, you're quite right. There are deparation areas. I happen to have grounds down there, and of my grounds, there's deparation areas, but they're in conditional areas. And as soon as the temperature goes down below 50 degrees, anything that I've done in the way of relay and deparation stops until you can continue to deposit, but you can't take off that ground until it comes back up above 50, and you start testing not only the fecals, but also the meats.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's, well, it keeps me gainfully employed, going
Right.
out, getting clams and sampling. Used to be a little bit more, there was better monetary compensation when I was a warden.
Yeah,
Now I must be dumb as hell to be doing this for free. No, it's nice. It's curious, and it's
Right.
it's almost like a
It
like
keeps
a
you
game of
gainfully
Clue, trying to
unemployed.
figure out what's going on. It really,
sure.
it's
Well,
like
thank you for including me.
Yep, yeah, and we'd love to have you on board. So,
Well,
okay,
let's
let
do it.
me. Yeah, we went an hour and a half. Let me make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Roger's always fast on that. Okay, all in favor? Yeah.
Yeah.
I will, let me follow up on all this stuff as we get ready for the public hearing, and I will copy you on everything I send out, guys, okay?
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Uh,